Hello, welcome everybody. Happy Halloween from Convergence Coaching. Jen and I are here to talk about fun today, some spooky fun maybe. So we thought, given it's the All Hallows Eve, right? Halloween Eve, that we would talk about fun. And fun is a core value of ours. And Jen and I connected on fun when I met Jen over 30 years ago because it was practice for Halloween. I know, over 30 years ago.
Yeah, you
Sorry.
just made it
I'm
sound.
giving it away.
Yeah.
But it's been a long time. And it was practice for their Halloween skit that they were doing, that they do every year at a software company that we both worked at. And I was interviewing for the job at the time. And so I got core value of fun from the day I met Jennifer Wilson. And we have taken it into this business, and it is still one of our core values. And we ask ourselves this all the time. Is this fun? Are we having fun? Is this work we're doing fun? Are we having fun with the people we're working with? And it's just super important to us. And we think we need to be more intentional about it at work in some places probably. And especially just to be silly. And so I guess that's why I picked the minion. Jen was like, minion. Like, yeah, silly shenanigans, up to things, come save your butt. When you get in trouble, I'll come rescue you. So anyway, we were just playing with it today. So we thought we'd come and talk about fun on the HR Huddle.
Yes. Well, and I'm Octavia, I guess, some sort of Roman leader, one of the first female Roman leaders and on the Roman coin and such. So actually what I am is wearing a costume that I have from my mother's 80th birthday. We did a toga. She wanted a toga party. She'd never been to one. And so that's what we did for her 80th birthday because she was fun, super fun. And so anyway, it's repurposed now for this purpose. And Tamera is full of shenanigans and the driver of a lot of the fun that she and I have. And it's what keeps us in a good partnership and keeps us in continuing to drive forward with the business all the time. And so one of the 12 employee engagement questions that Gallup asks is to measure whether or not people have a best friend at work. And if you want your people to be engaged, they need to like people at work. They need to have fun with them. They need to socialize with them. And in a remote and hybrid environment, if you think about it, we've been running a remote hybrid business for 24 years. It's a little harder, but you have to be creative and you can still have silly fun. And video, thank God for video, because we can have all sorts of visual fun together today that we couldn't have had, 5 years ago or 8 years ago, whenever, we were doing it all on the telephone, but we were still doing it. And so anyway, we just thought we better talk about it. And it's one of the 9 professional motivators. So fun is, camaraderie and fun, which is friendship and fun, is one of 9 professional motivators. And we all want all 9 in our work. And so as HR professionals, as people committed to talent, wanting to preserve people inside our firms that keep them engaged, keep them motivated, we want to make sure you have plans for fun. And not just Halloween fun. I mean, maybe your firm says Halloween doesn't work for us. We have, like tomorrow, we're having a 1-hour Halloween party with our whole team. And, a couple of our team members were like, listen, I'm teaching back-to-back webinars and I can come for 15 minutes to this thing, but I'm not coming in costume. And we're like, we get it, So there are some things that don't work for you, but what does work for you, and trying to figure that out. And Tamera, when we teach fun, because we do, we teach firms to have fun, or at least encourage them to do it. We always say you've got to have a director of fun. You have to name an owner for fun. If there's no owner for fun, or if we make the mistake of making a partner the owner of fun, it's not very fun.
It shows up like this, by the way.
Well, wait a minute. This is fun, but maybe. We'll let the audience.
We think it's fun, but yeah, that's it right there.
Our viewers have to decide what they think. But anyway, you got to have somebody who owns it, somebody who's driving it. So maybe you want to talk a little bit about that fun committee and things like that.
Yeah, and so we have a roles grid. Some of you are familiar with our roles grid, but everybody should own something in the firm, and at all levels we could own something, and we include fun in that. So it's on our roles grid, fun. And so we are like, who is the director of fun? It should be somebody young, somebody who likes to have fun, because back to those 9 motivators, not everybody ranks or rates those camaraderie and fun is one of their top motivators. And so we want it to be important to people. And so then they can create a group of people that are going to dream up fun activities and get sponsorship from a partner, or, whoever it might be. HR could, maybe be the sponsor for the fun committee, give them a budget, give them some guidelines. We probably have to have some guidelines for our fun at work, to make sure we're, not pushing the boundaries. But then we can say, okay, what are we going to do? And have a combination of things. And, it could be things that we do remote to accommodate our hybrid people. It could be things that we do in person. If it's in person, how do we make sure we include our remote people? It could be, fun things like, trivia or jokes or riddles that we have to solve. It could be, doing we've done a murder mystery, and we did it remote. You can do them live remote. I just saw on Facebook a firm that was doing a murder mystery remote, and they had their whole characters, for a couple of weeks, and we're really dressed up into them. But it doesn't have to be that extravagant either. It can be simple fun. It could be simple things that we do for fun. And if you have some ideas and you're live with us, you can message us. We would love to hear what they are. You can put them in the comments, or you can let us know later. But, somebody's dreaming those things up. And then partners need to participate, because what Jen and I dream up probably is different than what our team dreams up. And they dream up things and we're like, we wouldn't probably, say to do that. But we need to participate. We should show up. And that's one of the things HR professionals can do, is encourage your leaders to show up and participate. Don't have to participate in everything, especially if you have a lot of fun. I know some firms have a lot of fun. You can then, pick and choose, but make sure you're being exposed to a lot of different people. That's, a danger if we pick and choose, is we could, pick and choose the people that are like us, and then not be with other people in our firm that we should be interacting with, building relationships with, having them get to know us, et cetera. So we want to, be a little bit formal about it, and have a fun committee, and have a structure, and have a calendar, and have a budget, and invite people to participate in, lots of different ways.
Yeah, Tamera, this morning we kicked off our leadership program, one of our public leadership programs, and it's our fall program. And we went into small group work and gave them a contest. And there were 5 people in the group I was in, and they had to find at least 15 things that they had in common as fast as they could. And whoever had the most, of the groups in small group work on Zoom, so we're not together. We're not physically together. We kicked it off remotely. Then, and these people don't know each other. They just got thrown in a room together, and they're in this program, and they don't know each other. And they, I had fun watching them figure it out. It was super fun. And my team, the group I was observing, got 23 things that they had in common. And there was a list of things they couldn't say, like, I'm an accounting major or a graduate, or I work in public accounting, or there was a bunch of junk that we knew was low hanging fruit. We took that off, and they had to find other deeper things. But that's a perfect example of something pretty inexpensive you could do remotely. It's just the cost of the administration of the Zoom call and setting up the time to do mixers. A lot of firms do happy hours, and they do like the Brady Bunch happy hour with a bunch of windows, and everybody stares at each other and says nothing. But small group work with games are fun. And Emily on our team really loves to instigate games. And we had a summer camp this year.
And oh my gosh, that was a blast.
She shipped boxes to all of us, and they had a bandana. We had camp names, and we made s'mores, and she had these minute to win it games, and she sent all this junk basically, and it is junk. Minute to win it games are like, stacking Oreos, or just silly stuff, not very expensive. And of course, to scale it to 200 people, we realized is probably difficult and expensive, and so maybe that's not the thing you do. But it just depends on your size of team and who you're trying to have fun with. If you do have multiple offices, though, don't just make fun office specific, because then all I do is bond with my geography, and that's not really what you want to do if you're trying to build one firm. So trying to find cross-functional fun. And we've done the murder mystery. We work out together. We practice yoga. Yoga's, obviously during the pandemic, everybody learned that they could exercise on video with an instructor. But we knew that already because we'd been doing it for a long time since we've been remote the whole time. And we've had yoga, we do boot camps, modified CrossFit. I even led a 5K for CPA.com remotely. We met I turned on my Zoom at a lake and we took off and ran a 5K, so you can do almost anything remotely. We also did an escape room, and that probably of all the remote things we've ever done was one of my most fun. It was super, super unbelievably fun. And anyway, so it's important because it lets people sort of release feel good hormones. Laughing is super critical. Tamera, when she showed up as the minion, I was like, oh no, I don't know if I can have this conversation with you without just laughing right through it. Those glasses are crazy. And I hope that you like put them on and wear them without the minion outfit sometime. Just show up and like, oh, listen, I've got to put my glasses on.
This very important thing. I got to study it.
Yes. I got to read something for work with a client. You'll kill them. I mean, it will, and the awkwardness of them not knowing if they're real or not. I love the idea. So laughing, super critical, to have fun together, and it helps get you through harder times. And there are always, peak periods or difficult issues, or someone leaves that's heartbreaking, or, staff issues with people with illnesses. And, it's not all fun and games. It's not all laughs. But if we're too tied up in the seriousness and intensity of all of it, and the challenge, and we focus on that alone and there is no fun, then that's so like wearing, and burns you out. You could definitely find yourself in burnout without a little bit of fun. And we've heard of firms doing chili cook-offs, and one firm we know of does a Math Monday. They put out a math problem, put it probably out on Teams now. They used to email it, but I'm sure they're probably popping it up on Teams. And, first 5 people to solve it or whatever get gift cards. And, not everybody does it because not everybody's a math person, but it's kind of fun the people doing it are searching for that math problem that, that would be hard. And anyway, just something to pay attention to.
Well, and find ways to incorporate it. Like we're talking about some big things, but you can also incorporate it into like meetings. You can incorporate it, into different things that you might be doing. And even like some serious work, like we've been heads down 8 hours together. It's time to have some laughter. We have to get silly. We have to find things to laugh at, poke fun at ourselves, whatever it might be. But that is super important. Again, that bonding and also just that release. It's just so needed so that we can pursue, what we're working on. And so I think that's important too. And I think as, HR professionals and HR leaders, that's something you could look at and just maybe step back and talk about, like, what do we do for fun here at work, within the firm, within our different, segments and service lines and offices, if you have multiple offices, how inclusive are we being? Is it feeling stale? Sometimes it feels stale and we need to refresh it. We need to get different people to be thinking about it. We might get attached to things that we really like, and it's time to resign it. And I know that's hard, that's sad to let go of that, but it might be time to say, hey, let's, shake this up a little bit. We're going to try some new things, and getting people to come along with that. You have new people come into your firm all the time, and they have ideas, and, they're bringing, experiences that they might have that we can add to it. So we want to be careful that we don't get too attached to what we always do. But we could have a blend of it. We could mix it up. We can say, hey, it's okay. We're going to let that thing go, or we'll let it rest for a little bit. Maybe we pick it back up. Maybe we don't, but we don't have to say we're killing it right now. So we could, be a little bit lighter about
hiatus. We like the word hiatus.
We're on hiatus right now. Yeah, that's a good term. Yes, exactly. We're not getting out the axe, from the horror films. We're not doing that. We're not causing any bloodshed right now. But sometimes those are hard, discussions, like it's protected. And so, if you have any of that, you might be able to lead some discussions, to be able to do that. You could also, if you see on people's social media pages, what are they doing for fun? they might, you might go, first of all, I need to talk to you about that. And second of all, they might be suspect to come and participate. And so find out. And if you don't use those motivators, those 9 motivators, you might have people rank those motivators. That's a fun exercise, by the way. Speaking of fun,
Yeah,
it's work related, but it is fun to learn, what people put as their top 2. And compare notes, and then look at the theme for your firm, look at the theme for the different departments. What are their top 2 motivators? One-on-one as a management tool is huge to understand the people that, I am shepherding, what motivates them. But when you look to see, where does fun fall? Now, sometimes fun doesn't show up at top because it's just there, it's just expected. So you might have, and that's all the motivators, by the way, flexibility and time off or compensation. They might not show up to the top because they're just there, but you can probe on it. But I promise you, some will bubble up to the top. And those people you need to grab by the arms and say, hey, we need to talk to you.
Yeah. Well, and I was listening to you talk about retiring things, and I do think you have to set sort of a expiration date or something on fund committee members. There needs to be some sort of rotation of the chair, and who's participating. Sometimes firm operations or administration wants a permanent seat on that, and that's okay for budgeting and for making sure we're not going to do anything completely nuts that's going to put us at legal risk or not be inclusive or something like that. And so I like the idea that they would be there, but we have to be careful that they're not there like as a wet blanket. We already tried that because we always have, because we never do, So you got to sort of watch who you're letting be there, because it's a lot of brainstorming to get to the best kinds of fun ideas. And so you don't want a lot of squelching at first, at least to bubble up the ideas. You can always have a secondary, management committee, your normal management committee, review the fund plans, ask the hard questions, and decide which things to greenlight. So I would caution us about having too many adults or parents types in the brainstorming conversation, because they'll spend too much time focusing on why we can't probably, then, why don't we try it? Let's see what we can find out. And I do think that you want a blend of in-person and remote. Those of you who have people in multiple states, we have firms, a lot of our clients that have, distributed workforces, and they've hired a lot of people remotely and they're serving clients remotely. They're bringing their people in twice a year for big firm weeks. They they publish the dates of the weeks, for the next year right about now, so people can get them calendared and they know they're going to be there. And it's a mix of probably learning and development. It's a mix of company updates and strategy. And then it's a lot of fun. It's events and fun and bonding and networking and mixing and all those things. And some firms have been combining that. I've seen this in social with like spirit weeks, where every day is a different outfit or a different sort of color they're wearing for some purpose or whatever it might be, to build team spirit or camaraderie. And Spirit Week, most of us remember it either through our children or from our own, high school days, depending on how those go how far back they are for you. But there was always a Spirit Week where people dressed up for different things and had fun, and that costs nothing. You don't, if you just say wear something red,
Right.
It doesn't have to be store bought, other than what you already have in your closet, that sort of thing. So anyway, we just, Tamera and I were both thinking about Halloween and how much fun we've had with it. And once your kids get a little older, before they have kids, I had a guy tell me today on the TLP, he's like, well, I don't dress up anymore because my kids aren't little, and I said, that sounds like not very fun. I was like, you can dress up even if your kids are big. It's allowed.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. And
so
Grandpa's dressed up.
them.
Grandpa showed up at church yesterday. He was a corn on the cob. It was hilarious with his grandkids, and they were all princesses and unicorns and things like that. It's like, we're never too old, to have fun and dress up. And, the last thing, Jen, I would just say is don't forget about fun during busy season. I know that's obvious, and maybe sometimes we pay attention to it more. Some firms might, pay attention to it more there, but I think a lot of us could forget about it. And even those watching the fun, the laughter, don't minimize the power of the laughter, because we could have fun with that. I know some firms did the Olympics, the Winter Olympics, and they would have the bobsleds on their chairs going through the office. Or on April 15th, they got a remote control trucks, and they were, delivering treats to everybody's office, and nobody was there. There was just this truck that would come into your office, and you know, it can be fun. It can just be fun being the recipient of fun. And sometimes, again, that's what people need, especially during those peak, working hard, heads down, times, is to, find those opportunities to have fun. So hopefully you got some ideas. We'd love to hear your ideas. We're all about fun, if you can't tell. So we would like to learn more. And we hope you have a wonderful Halloween, however you celebrate it or don't. And we look forward to seeing you again next week. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks.